Okay, a bit of blues today. Quite a few months ago, on one of my previous blues videos, a couple of people asked me if I could talk some more about more complex left-hand blues. Okay, just to put that in context, what you usually do when you're playing blues is play fixed patterns in the left hand. Okay, a little bit like this. Okay, so you can see what's going on here. The left hand is just playing basically the same pattern but on different chords. And that approach has two big advantages. First of all, it gives you this kind of driving rhythm. That really sort of almost rocking bluesy rhythm. You can take it faster and faster. Eventually it becomes boogie woogie. But also it's simple. Mastering it can take just a little bit of hard work. It can be a bit like, rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. But once you can do it, you can kind of switch off what's happening in the left hand, forget about it, and really focus on creating rich improvisations in the right. But sometimes it's cool to mix it up in the left hand, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. Let me show you the kind of thing I mean. Let me play through a blues in C just a couple of times. Okay, hopefully you kind of get the idea from that. Let's look at what I was doing in the left hand there. There was a greater complexity going on, but really all I was doing was using the same techniques I might use in the right hand, improvising on a blues scale, to create a fairly simple left hand line. If you look at what I did right at the start there, something like this, all I'm doing is going up some of the notes of the blues scale. Okay. In particular, when I started, I concentrated on keeping that rhythm going. So what's almost happening in the left there is a walking bass line. It's not a regular walking bass line. It's not one of these, but it's a walking bass line all the same. Okay. One way you can practice that, if you know your blues scales, is just to play simple chords in the right, but to improvise in the left, kind of the reverse of what you would normally do. Okay. One thing you'll notice, I'm using a relatively limited range of fingers, so my thumb, my first and my third, we're getting very heavily worked there. Bit of fourth, I says. Okay, because as I'm climbing especially, those fingers are really the strongest. Every now and then I was using my pinky to do something like that. Okay. The other thing I was doing was kind of mixing and matching. Okay, it is very difficult to do something complex like that and something similarly complex in the right hand at the same time. It blows your mind. So frequently what you will want to do is to play something fairly simple in the right while you're going for a slightly crazier improvisation in the left, or to play what we call breaks, okay, where one hand stops playing altogether, in this case the right hand, and the left hand kind of has a little solo all by itself. So you notice what I was doing there was playing fairly simple stuff in the right hand, but really kind of mixing it up in the left during the breaks. Now, if all of this is insane rocket science to you, I'll say what I usually say. If you are just starting out on the blues, go and look at my my very basic blues tutorials, okay? Because they will teach you all about the blues scale. They will teach you all about those standard left hands and blues patterns and so on. I will include a link to the playlist here, so you can go and check that out. Okay, how to practice this stuff, because that's what it really comes down to. And what I would encourage you to do if you're developing your blues playing is, you know, sit with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in one hand and just noodle around in your left. So, cup of tea in your right hands, and just practice little patterns like this. You can play a whole 12 bar just in your left. Okay, so, excuse me, it's about getting the left hand working. One of the great problems that lots of kind of improvising pianists have is that they're great at the right, and you know, I'm guilty of this as well, but the left hand can really struggle sometimes. So it's purely about using the blues scale. It's purely about thinking about your rhythms and thinking about continuing to keep that sort of driving feel behind the blues. Whatever you do, listen to the musicality of it. Okay, that's how you really get a sense of what's working and what isn't. You know, too many people, when they're learning blues or jazz or whatever, they find a scale, they play around in it, but it's a mechanical process. So they're saying, yeah, I can play this note, I can play this note, and they're not listening to the outcome. Okay, what you need to get to is a point where you are primarily listening to what you're playing and judging it in musical terms rather than in technical terms. Okay, so the dog's got up and is kind of persuading me by the looks of things that it's time for a walk, so I better go. So just a quick video today. I will just say that, as I usually do, that you should check out my website, www.billspianopages.com. There's a blog and various other bits and pieces there. And I should give a quick push to my book, How to Really Play the Piano, if the stuff your teacher never taught you. If you're really new to the blues, How to Really Play the Piano is great because it's got a whole section, part 2, on improvising 12-bar blues. It takes you into the whole you know, the whole first approach to piano improvisation. I use blues as a kind of model because it's simple and it's fun. So do have a look. How to Really Play the Piano. £14.95 for the print edition, £9.95 that's UK pounds for the digital download. And there we go. Cool. Right, I'm going to take the dog out. Hopefully have another video up for you in a couple of weeks' time.